Young Kings. I like the black and white. I thought this was a really interesting documentary about the bike life and this specific area in Atlanta, and how this is a really, I just thought it was a really cool community for these kids to have, to do something fun that they can enjoy and get freedom from. Apparently, this is something they feel gives them more freedom. And I really liked when they said wheels up, guns down. I mean, really, that's awesome. Because honestly, I think it just takes some showing interest in these kids, and I think these adults, kind of mentoring these kids in riding bikes and teaching them how to do wheelies and different tricks on the bikes, it really focuses their attention on something fun and creative and positive, really. I really liked the spoken word throughout, too. It wasn't the entire time, but I liked that it was kind of bookended in there. Um, I didn't honestly. The music for me was confusing. To me, it just didn't go with it. At least not the whole thing. There was some times where I thought the music could have been a little different to kind of go with the feel of it, for me personally. But overall, I really liked this. I thought it was different. I'm glad I saw it, and I hope it gets out there more and more people start doing this in their communities. I just think it's a really great, healthy activity and fun thing to do. So good job to everyone.
Young Kings might be one of my favorite short documentaries that I've seen in a while. I really, really liked the black and white aesthetic. Two, I'm always, a fan of Atlanta. I'm trying to go work out there one day. Um, and I also like the subject matter. I always associated, bikes and like bike culture with like Philly. Um, if it was black people involved, I always thought it was Philly, but this is about like the culture in Atlanta, which I really, really was rocking with. Um, I really like the whole movement, the positive movement behind it about like, oh, guns down, wheels up. I rock with the whole movement and the whole like approach to it. And I think that this is a really good like piece of media that you could take to like the city and get them like how they're saying like, oh, Atlanta has the space, but it just needs like some more open minds in charge to like really build out the infrastructure to like really make it a thing. You could take this short film and like show it to somebody, some city official, somebody in charge that could really persuade them to take action and make something shake. So I'd say that to say that it's very effective at like showing the issue and showing the positive aspects of the movement. So like a really good selling piece. So yeah, great job.
Young Kings was so awesome. It's so great to see a community coming together um, for a mutual interest that is doing good, and it's keeping kids engaged with each other, and it's keeping them active, and it's keeping them from getting into other types of trouble. Um, and it seems like they have really good adults and mentors who are there and supporting them. And I just think groups and communities and programs similar to this are so important. Um, I think especially for young kids growing up right now, like I mean, you couldn't pay me to grow up with social media. I feel for them, and I think that it's easier nowadays to feel lonelier than ever. And so, being able to have a group of people with common interests, I think is so um, vital for having a well-rounded kind of holistic mentally healthy life. So I'm just so happy to see that this exists and people are really enjoying it and passionate about it. And getting to see, the differences between age groups and yeah, it was a really nice uh, look into this life. And I thought that the cinematography was absolutely beautiful. They kind of had these like sweeping shots, and I felt like it all really flowed together really nicely. Um, I liked getting to hear from people directly, but also having that black and white. It kind of just makes it feel more like real and raw and down to earth. And yeah, I thought that this was really cool. It had really good energy, and I'm glad that this exists for our youth. Great job.
Young Kings. I was immersed right from the first hit of that groovy track at the beginning and that slow motion easy glide through the city. It felt like a warm welcome to the community and getting to know the people who are members of the bike community. The filmmaking really captured that smooth feeling of getting into a flow state on a bike where you can just watch the city pass you by, or as you pass by the city, seeing friendly faces along the way, and you can stop and chat and check in and then carry on your journey. I thought it was really great variety of subjects sharing on what their experience of bike life is in Atlanta and what it provides them. Yeah, a really lovely, creatively crafted piece.
So I just watched the film Young Kings. I loved watching this movie. I had a great time watching it. It's about a really interesting sort of subculture or movement about bike riders in Atlanta. I thought the film was really informative and illuminating. Probably my favorite aspect of the film was just how positive it is. It just radiates positivity, and it's just so uplifting and joyous and hopeful. It really seems like the movie's coming from a place of love, and I just thought it was a really heartwarming film to watch. On top of that, this movie is really philosophical and introspective. The interplay between the voiceover and the interview subjects and the figures in the movie creates some really powerful moments. The movie does do a really good job of giving you a sense of the depth and the scope of this movement. And I think it does a really good job of putting this subculture on the map. It was just a great film, and I had a lot of fun watching it.
So this is my commentary on Young Kids. I really enjoyed this documentary. I think in terms of the narrative, I think it's a very unique story. With documentaries, usually one of the greatest things about it is you can learn about the people and things that you are unfamiliar with and you don't know about. So for me, I've never really heard of this sort of biking community in Atlanta. And it was really interesting to see what that was and how it's influenced the people in the community that are involved in it. And the sort of, I guess the themes that come out of that is community, the generational shifts and interests with Gen Z and millennials specifically. And that was great to see. I think one of the characters, or one of the subjects rather, said that Gen Z is more into sort of skating and biking, and then millennials were more into basketball and football. And so that was an interesting take and look into what that means, and like to be able to see, which is definitely something I'd noticed, but the way he articulated it, I think, was interesting. So I really did enjoy that and learning that sort of trope. I think technically, as well as I think it was very poetic, especially in the beginning and the end of the narration. I really enjoyed that. I think the music or the poetic element sort of spoke to a theme of soul, and that was really portrayed well through the music and the narration, as well as the people. It was very well done, I think, in that sense. So, and I enjoyed the themes tackled as well. And then technically, I did enjoy I think the black and white aspect was an interesting choice throughout. It was interesting because there was a scene where one of the guys spoke about purple, and obviously it's in black and white, so I wouldn't know. But I think it was an interesting choice because it does add to the sort of poetic theme that kind of went on. It just makes it very timeless in a way, and it's really like an interesting choice, I would say. But yeah, I think overall it's a great documentary, very well done, very interesting and unique topic, and a very interesting group of people.
Hi, this is my comments on Young Kings. I really enjoyed this short. As somebody who went to school in Atlanta and lived there for a really long time, the documentary definitely felt like a love letter to the city, and not just the young residents who are in the bike life, but just everybody who lived along the Beltline and who was a part of that community, and who's like borne witness to the wealth disparity that has caused groups like this not to just to come out and have fun, but to also look for outlets and positive outlets from the city. From the very beginning, from the beautiful spoken word and the really amazing shots of the youth coming down the street on the bikes, it's really evocative and really, really beautiful. I love the different interview style and the different like angles, having the interviewees look through different parts of the bikes and having the camera positioned in different places. It was really fun and created really, I think it did evoke the feeling of freedom and youth that the documentarians were looking for. I thought it was really successful. I loved the smooth jazz soundtrack. I thought that was really great. There was so much to love about what the interviewees had to say, and I thought that the structure of the documentary really did an excellent job driving home the point that not only is like the bike life a positive influence, but it needs the city's support to continue to be a positive influence, and what it is to be involved in like motocross and BMX, and how it affects these young people's lives, and kind of interviewing not only young people, but people who've been doing this for 20 years, and how it affected them, and what they're looking for now as an adult to try and foster these positive communities within the city. I thought that was a really, really clean narrative, and I just really enjoyed watching these young people. I love the black and white. There were so many different successful parts of the documentary, and all of those things work together to create a really strong and beautiful short.
What a wonderful movie. First of all, I just love the title, Young Kings. You know, you're wondering what it's about going in. And then, you know, when we hear that title being applied to, bicycle riders, and they're doing all these amazing tricks and things and establishing community, I just love it. I just love it. One fellow at one point referred to it as the bike life, And, I like that, we're here in this community in Atlanta, and we got these folks coming together over a shared interest, over art, the art of maintaining and riding bikes, and, just having fellowship together. And he said, bikes up, guns down, so yeah, it was really nice to see the community and the friendship here. It's always wonderful when people come together over common interest, over art and sports, which I think this is kind of both an art and a sport. So it's pretty wonderful. And, it was a wonderfully made movie. Really enjoyed it. Nice pacing. Just really enjoyed seeing all the interviews. Everybody interviewed so well. Everybody was great on camera. All the performances of the cyclists, they just did a great job. So excellent work here. I hope this gets out and gets seen for you. I hope you get some eyes on it, because it's a really special piece.